Chapter 8 by me. I wasn't sure how long I had been asleep. As I slowly sat up in the large soft bed, I rubbed my eyes, squinting them against the bright sunlight that poured through the dome-shaped window. The window started from the center of the ceiling and continued down, forming one of the walls. Just sitting from the bed, I could see out at the ocean. I could almost imagine that I was at some exotic hotel on Earth, except for the colorful birds and strange dolphin-like creatures that moved outside it, reminding me that I was definitely not on Earth. I started moving off the bed. I walked into the bathroom that had been pointed out to me earlier. After bathing, I put on the clothes that the servants had laid out for me. It was an elegant blue pants dress suit. The cloth was very soft to the touch. When I walked, it almost looked like gentle swirls of water moving around me. I moved toward the wood doors, reaching for the handle, pushing the door open. I was surprised to find that there were no guards standing outside my door. Outside was a long hallway with pictures of rural Athenians on the walls. I slowly walked down the hallway, looking at the pictures. The Athenians and their city seemed so at odds with what I was told about them. Not at all what I pictured a warrior home to be, I thought to myself. A door ahead of me opens and a young woman steps into the hallway. As she closes the door, she smiles at me. Walking towards me, she says, "You must be Dorothy. I'm Nerissa." She continues seeing my puzzled look. She says, "Prince Galen is my brother. Come, we shall have a meal and get to know each other better. Oh, and please don't look so grim. I am sure my brother will convince father to help you. Once Galen gets an idea in his head, there is not much anyone can do to sway him." I am completely stunned by her cheerful behavior towards me. Nerissa loops her arm through mine, pulling me down the hallway. She leads me to a grand living room, but instead of stopping there, we continued out onto a patio. A white table and 4 chairs sit in the middle of the patio. Nerissa motions for me to sit as she takes a seat on the opposite side. I slowly sit down at the table. She says, "This is my favorite place to sit. It's always so quiet and peaceful here, don't you think?" I look out at the gentle waves of the ocean, smiling. I said, "Yes, it's very pleasant. This is not what I had expected at all." I mean, Nerissa smiles as she interrupts me. "We are not quite the monsters that they believe us to be." I gasp, saying, "Oh no, that's not. Well." Nerissa held up her hand to quiet me. She said, "It's okay. We each have our own misconceptions. You are not what I expected either. But here we are." We sat in silence as the servants brought out the food for us. I didn't know what to say to Nerissa. I had not expected any kindness from the Athenians, but here I was sitting and having lunch with one. I wondered if the Garlanians had misjudged them and vice versa. I watched the mesmerizing waves of the ocean, feeling that maybe there was some hope. After finishing our meal, Nerissa stands up. She smiles at me, saying, "I'll take you to find my brother now. He most likely is still in the study with our father." I follow Nerissa out to a beautiful carved staircase. We descend down into a large open room. There are people walking about, each appearing to be either entering or leaving the castle. I ask her why there aren't any guards around the castle. Nerissa exclaims that the city was well protected, so their men had no need to stand guard. We stop at a large set of wooden doors. Smiling at me, Nerissa says, "Now you mustn't let father intimidate you. Something he loves to do, but he really is just a big arthropod at heart. But don't tell him I said so. With that, she opens the door, walking into a large study. I follow behind her, feeling more like a little fish in a room of hungry sharks. Taking a deep breath, I wait to be introduced to the king of the Arthenians. I hoped I didn't look as nervous as I felt. Nerissa walks over to her father, smiling at him. Giving him a kiss on his head, she exclaims, "Father, I would like you to meet Dorothy." "Dorothy, this is my father, King Asper. And of course, you already have met my brother." Motioning behind me, Galen grumbles, "Nerissa, you should have waited." Nerissa rolls her eyes at Galen. As she walks back towards me, she says, interrupting him, "Oh, please. You have been trying to convince Father all night, when all you need to do is introduce them to each other." Crossing her arm with mine, King Asper replies, "Daughter, Galen is right. This..." Nerissa turns, interrupting him as well. I would have laughed if I wasn't so nervous. She had a way of commanding a room that anyone could find impressive. She says, "Father, you must give her a chance. How many times have I heard you say that if only you had had a chance to at least sit and talk with King Orlean, that things could have been different. Now is your chance at least. Here with his granddaughter. For our people, please give this a chance." King Asper leans back in his chair, resting his chin on his fist. He looks like Caesar on his throne, instead of a man sitting at his office desk. Nerissa gives me a gentle push into the empty chair in front of his desk. I glance at Galen, who sat across from me, looking like a younger version of his father. Nerissa says with a sigh, "Now sit, and please play nice. I have a huge list of things to complete today, so I will not be able to be the peacekeeper." She gave both Galen and her father an intense glare, adding, "Behave." With that, Nerissa walks out of the room, shutting the door behind her. Galen chuckles, saying, "You'll have to excuse her. She tends to be a bit aggressive sometimes." King Asper replies, "Sometimes." Even though he sounds very annoyed, I could see a twinkle in his eyes as he stared at the wooden doors. Sighing, he looks at me. "Well, convince me, child. Why should I help you become the leader of the Garlenians? Why should he..." I think to myself, hoping I could find the right words to convince him. Looking down at my lap, I smooth my pants out, breathing slowly to steady myself. I look up, saying, "I was told that Galen had already told you of what has happened." King Asper nods. Seeing that is to be his only response, I continue. "I am not sure if I can say anything that will convince you, sir. I am not even sure if I'm the right person to lead the Garlenians. I have only just learned that I am half Garlenian myself. Perhaps being from Earth can help me have a different outlook on the people of this planet. I know your people and mine have been at war with each other for a very long time. I also know that they wish for peace with your people. They are tired of the fighting and loss of life. Are your people not the same? How long can each side continue this feud without it destroying both sides? But from what I have seen of this Larg, he is not. Should never rule the Garlenians. He is cruel and heartless. There cannot be any peace with him as their leader." King Asper and Galen exchange looks, neither speaking. Galen says, "It will be hard for both sides at first, but I feel it is time for peace, Father, for all of us." King Asper leans forward in his chair.